Hey there, folks. My name is Lucas Martin. I'm our business development manager here at ARC Advisory Group. Our analysts make it a priority to monitor the key technology changes, vertical industries, and any regional trends impacting the global business environment as a whole. This is a new market update segment where I'll pick the minds of our industry experts here at ARC Advisory Group. We'll chat about the scope of the market, the supplier landscape, key growth and success factors, and any key trends they may have discovered through their research. Now, let's not waste any more of your time and hop right into the interview. Hey folks, and welcome back to another market update episode. Today I'm joined by Tim Shea, a senior analyst here at ARC Advisory Group. Tim recently finished up a 2023 global market analysis report on robotic inspection services, and I wanted to set up some time so we could share a little bit more with the audience. Tim, thanks so much for the time today. Can you touch a little bit on just the overall scope of research, the bandwidth that went into producing such a quality report?
Sure. Well, the scope included, we looked at companies that are taking robotic solutions, wheeled, tracked, other types of form factors, and using that to provide an inspection service to a company. Typically, it would be non-destructive testing, non-destructive inspections of things like storage tanks, pressure vessels, piping, pipelines, boilers, scrubbers, and other types of assets, typically found in process and hybrid industries such as chemical, electric power generation, electric power transmission and distribution, food and beverage, mining, oil and gas, pharmaceuticals, pulp and paper refining, and other industries like that. And then he also looked at what type of inspection methods are they employing on these robots. The main ones we looked at are eddy current, ultrasonic, various types of ultrasonic technologies, and then the remote visual cameras and things like that that would be used for inspections of corrosion, cracks, blistering, and other types of defects and problems.
Great. And it sounds like obviously it's a very comprehensive report. And it sounds like you might have touched on a little bit of the supplier landscape, but could you maybe expand on that a little bit?
Found, in terms of, I'll do this in terms of leading suppliers in terms of alphabetically, we had Baker Hughes's Waygate Technologies, Edify Technologies, Gecko Robots, companies like Invert Robotics, Mistras Group, which acquired a company called Atos back in 2015, and a company called Team. Those are some of the companies we saw as the leading providers and for our base year 2022 analysis.
Great. So Tim, let's share with the audience maybe a key growth or success factor, or maybe a few that you might have uncovered while you were doing some of the research for this report.
Okay. Well, we find in any of these types of robotic type studies, the key growth driver is really the need for employee safety. And in getting employees out of these harmful situations, whether that be, scaling a high, 100-foot storage tank or going inside a pressure vessel and things like that, is can kind of get them out of these hazardous environments, particularly those like confined space entries where they have to, vent out the tank or whatever of harmful vapors and things like that. So employee safety is critical because traditional NTT inspections and things like that are done manually, and they're typically often unsafe. And because they're using things like scaffolding, ropes, things like that. So safety is an issue. Another driving factor we found is obviously the need for regulations and industry standards across many countries. They all have different ones. Some of the big ones that I look at in the US are API, like 653, 570, 510, other types of industry standards that are driving the need for non-destructive tested inspections of these assets. That's the baseline driver. And then I think we're going to see a growing share of those types of inspections. They're going to be moving to automated inspections done robotically. And then another one we're seeing is that overall demand, we think, is going to continue to grow as users start to continue to deploy these type of services where they can get the benefits of greater accuracy, more consistent, reliable measurements, and greater data collection, consistency of data collection, quicker inspections. Obviously, I think that there's usually typically a good cost savings involved in terms of saving on scaffolding and the manpower that be used and a number of things. And just condensing that down is really a time saver in addition to the benefit of safety. And then lastly, we're seeing that a number of the service providers are enhancing the functionality and performance capabilities of their service offerings by using typically a software platform, which maybe allows for automated reporting within a certain number of hours, advanced analytics and things like that. And actually, some companies are actually looking at developing digital twins to help people with better planning and remedial actions. Localization technology to pinpoint the exact location of an asset to allow better inspection capabilities and to examine the corrosion trends over time, predictive maintenance kind of analysis, and then ability to estimate when repairs might be necessary. Again, that saves on time, costs, and it really enhances our productivity.
Absolutely. Very interesting. I mean, you mentioned a number of great points there. Obviously, safety of the employees, but also cost, accuracy, time of inspections, a number of these real true tangible benefits for these inspection services. So let me flip this question on you, Tim. Was there any growth inhibiting factors you might have uncovered?
Well, for this type of market, since this is a third-party service provider sort of analysis, the biggest inhibiting factor to the growth in this industry is just the fact that if a greater number of end users decide to conduct this kind of automated inspections in-house rather than outsourcing it to a third party, that would certainly, limit the market opportunity. But we think that there's going to be certainly a growing share of customers that are going to see the benefits of outsourcing that, so they save on the overhead of staff and things like that. Because often, in many cases, these requirements or these inspections are required periodically over course of years. So it's really kind of a savings in terms of time and cost.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Tim, let me kind of pivot the conversation a little bit. I mean, obviously you laid out the benefits of, services like this, and it seems to be pretty substantial. Do you have any strategies you would recommend to buyers of a system like this?
Yeah, well, you always recommend the users that when they're considering using any kind of new technology, look at applications because again, the driving factor of a lot of this is really employee safety. So we'd say, pick an application with whether it's confined space entry or scaling up some large tank or getting into some hazardous area. Look at that as the first application to consider. And then once you target those, look at other applications where you see the benefits of this automated inspection. Another one is certainly to review the specific operational requirements to make sure that you're getting the right robotic service, which includes the form factor and inspection method, to meet the application requirements. So if you're looking at corrosion, a lot of times ultrasonic is very popular in that case, whereas in other cases, remote visual using cameras and things like that might be a more suitable option. And then to also make sure that the service provider can more seamlessly integrate with the existing systems that the company have in terms of maintenance and things like that. And then also, I'd lastly recommend that they look at the track records and capabilities of the service provider. How many inspections have they done in the past? How many inspections that are similar to the ones that the customer's asking them to do? What type of certifications do their inspectors are going to have in terms of level 1, level 2, things like that. And so really trying to make sure that they have the capabilities to do this. And then as an added benefit, I would say to consider, does this provider, have they developed an application software platform that's going to help them collect and analyze and visualize and report the data in a way that the customer can use quickly and efficiently and get it, integrated into the system. And on top of that is all this scalable so that they can do additional applications in the future. So those are the couple of things that I would recommend that buyers consider when they're looking at evaluating a service provider.
Well, Tim, thanks a lot for touching on, strategies for the asset owners looking to, buy a system like this. How do you feel that buyers overall, suppliers, service providers, EPCs of, market analysis like this can benefit?
Well, really, depending on the situation, like the end users can get a good snapshot of who the key suppliers are, what their solutions and service capabilities are, what industries do they tend to focus on? Is it one of their industries? And, so you get a better understanding of who the providers are. If you're a supplier, you get a pretty much good landscape of the competitive situation, where their competitors are strong at, where they're weak at. So that helps that supplier to say, hey, if I want to allocate my resources to maximize my traction in the market, these are the industries and perhaps inspection methods or things like that they should consider doing so. And then if you're, perhaps a third party independent player, you get an idea of what the whole market is what's it comprised of, what are the market dynamics and things like that. But one key thing I think I also want to mention for the suppliers is that they get an independent third party market forecast. So if they're trying to either raise money, with funding, like such Gecko recently, obtained funding of over $70 million to help them grow their business. The third party independent market outlook and analysis certainly gives them an added benefit to help in those situations where someone wants to say, hey, I need an objective, not a biased opinion of the market. So you get an independent third party perspective.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Tim, we're running out of time, but I wanted to say thanks again for, the time today. An excellent job on, again, another great comprehensive market analysis report. To the audience, we have links to our website and more information about the Robotic Inspection Service Market Analysis Report in the description below. You can contact us directly through our webpage. We'd love to discuss how market data, analysis, selection guides, and reports like this can help out your company. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next Market Update episode.
If you like what you saw in this video and want more informative content, be sure to like, comment, and hit the notification bell below. Also, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks again, folks. We really appreciate the time, and we'll see you in the next video.